Hello, everybody. This is Ron Ake with Second Chances on Life podcast. I'm coming at you from my office here at Seth Wadley Ford in Ada, Oklahoma. Today's episode is going to be Your Way of Thinking Got You Here. And you're going to hear this in treatment if you decide to get help, and I hope you do. And especially if you go to Rob's Ranch, I know for a fact you're going to hear your way of thinking is what got you here. So, like I had an itch and realized my collar's all jacked up here. So, I've got this picture in the background here I want you to see here. It's Jesus running toward a lost lamb. And if you know the verse, it's about Jesus leaving the flock to come seek the one that's lost. And he left the 99 to rescue me. I've even got a shirt that says he left the 99 for me or to rescue me. But if any of you want to make out what that says in the background, that's what it is. It's one of my favorites. But I want to thank the people that I need to thank every episode. And that's my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, my wife and son, Seth Wadley himself, and Seth Wadley Auto Group. I want to thank Rob's Ranch Recovery Center in Purcell, Oklahoma, all its staff and clients as well, before and current, and the ones that will come after me, the ones that have passed away and gone on. All their families. I just appreciate all of them. I want to thank Landmark Church and Pastor Justin Blankenship. I've got to know Pastor Justin, and I text with him pretty regular, not daily, but almost daily. And I appreciate your help as well, sir. And I think what you're doing there at your church is incredible. I highly suggest anyone that is within an hour or two driving distance to Purcell, Oklahoma on a Sunday to visit Landmark Church and to just see it for yourself. If you can't do that, they do record and you can tune in online. And it is Landmark Church in Purcell, Oklahoma. Pastor Justin Blankenship. So, how I got to know Pastor Justin was him coming out to Rob's Ranch on Monday nights on his own time. He just voluntarily comes out there to Rob's Ranch to talk to the guys, and he doesn't have to do that. He does that because he wants to help, and he knows by now how much he's loved out there and how much it's appreciated when he does come out. And I got to know Pastor Justin on a personal relationship that way. I've always grew up Southern Baptist and went to big churches, and I'm not saying anything about bad churches. If you're going to church, you're at least in church, and I don't ever want to say anything to discourage that. It's just, if you go to a big church like that, then you know how hard it is to get relationships going with people, and especially with the pastor. I mean, there's a lot of churches like that you may never even get to meet the pastor, and I just preferred to have a better one-on-one relationship with my pastor. Excuse me, I gotta adjust pretty frequently. I've had back surgery and a couple of shoulder surgeries, and sitting still is just not something I can do. But I wanted to just thank all these people. Without them, I wouldn't be here today. I am convinced of that. And I want to get on the topic today of your way of thinking got you here. But first, if you go to somewhere like Rob's Ranch, you will learn the Serenity Prayer and the Lord's Prayer and say them daily. So I try to pray before each episode, and just ask the Lord to give me the words and use me as a vessel to help others, and in hopes that I can reach out there somehow, some way, and say something or give some advice or a story or a coping mechanism or something that might help somebody. But we're going to start every episode with the Serenity Prayer. I say the Serenity Prayer. We'll end with the Serenity Prayer, but we will say the Lord's Prayer in the beginning of most every episode. And I'm just looking over my notes real quick here to make sure that I don't miss anything like I did on the last episode. I got done and then looked at it and like, man, dadgummit, I missed a couple of points. But so anyways, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer here. Bear with me. God, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Like I said, that is the Lord's Prayer, and you will learn it if you go to at least a faith-based treatment center, male or female. I know they both say the Lord's Prayer and the Serenity Prayer every day, and they're very helpful. If you say them with an open heart and full intent, they will help you also. So, the topic of the day, your way of thinking got you here. So, my counselor is one of the first people I ever heard tell me that anyways. I heard him talking about it in class, and after a while, when I pulled my head out of my backside and I really started trying to pay attention and get the most out of it that I can, I started taking notes and started really trying to apply myself, and then end up trying to help some of the other people that might not open to counselors or to the pastor or anything. The only place that didn't have a curfew was the chapel. And as long as you're at the chapel, you can stay in there past curfew. And I would go in there and I'd help listen to guys if they wanted to talk. I'd help them go through their 12 steps. And I'm no expert on it by no means, but sometimes just being a non-judgmental party and willing to listen and willing to just try to help. Sometimes some of these rougher fellas that normally wouldn't just open up to anybody will sometimes open up to me for some reason, and I'm totally grateful for that. And I'm always willing to listen. I'm always willing to help any way or anyone or anyhow, any type I can. I'll do what I can to help anytime. But so my counselor, is such a, obviously doing it for years and years like he had, is a great judge of character. And it didn't take him long to read me, and he had me nailed. He knew I had a bad attitude. He knew I probably come from a little bit of rough upbringing and background and stuff. Nothing bad on my parents. We were silver spoon kids, had everything given to us that you could ever want for a kid, and it's just we were a pretty rowdy group, and we just grew up that way. But my dad died when I was 19. I blamed myself for it for a long time, and I actually didn't get right with myself and God over it until I got to Rob's Ranch, and it is January almost, and I will be sober 2 years in March. So I was up until 54, and he died at 19. I carried some things around that made me a very angry person inside and out, and didn't really realize I was dragging along as much baggage and weight as I was until I was taught to cope and really how to handle things and get them out there in the open and liberate myself, basically. But I want to talk about that. our way of thinking is what gets us to the point of being face down and broke. And I talk about being face down and broken almost in every episode, at least for a second or two. The Lord lets us get broken in order to fix us. And I truly believe we got to be broken to be fixed, and we got to get knocked down to look up. And it had to happen to me. It's had to happen to most of the people that I talk to that have experienced long-term sobriety. And I don't think there's any faking this. If you really want help and you really want to change life for what it's been for you, there's another thing they say is you didn't come in here on a winning note, and it's because your way of thinking got you here. So obviously there is a better way. There's better ways. There's better life, and there's different ways of doing things that can improve your total outcome on life. So if you're like me, well, I was on my own since I was 19, like I said, and I was used to making all my own decisions. And I have to be honest with myself and honest with you that, my life was pretty much laid out for me until my dad died. I was working for him. I planned on going to finishing college and being in the CAD and computer-aided drafting and design and help with the estimating into things. And that was my life laid out pretty much for me and in front of me, and that's what I was going to do. Well, when he died at the age of 19, we had to sell the company. That I pretty much lost my compass and really lost my mind there for a while, just trying to process things. I was used to physical pain and fighting and being rowdy and sports and racing and all that. I'd broke a lot of bones, car wrecks, you name it. And I was used to physical pain. I knew how to process physical pain. I didn't know how to process interior pain. And so I just kept on fighting and being rowdy. And I kept thinking that if I can pick a fight with the right person that just whooped me good, that somehow, some way I can make the exterior physical pain meet the internal mental pain. And somehow I can process all this pain and confusion and anxiety and anger and you name it. It was all going through my head like a tornado. And I, in turn, become like a tornado. I say a lot of times like a runaway train, and that's just the best illustration I can come up with to describe it. At one point, several points actually in my life, I was and did become a runaway train. I don't know how my wife stayed with me. She's my rock, 'cause I've said it many times. Without her and my son and without the Lord's help and standing behind me and believing in me and them believing in me and seeing something better than I could see and believe in myself, it's just, I don't know, it's an amazing thing to me that anyone could have stayed with me through it, but she did, and I thank her for it. Thank you, Carla and Dakota. I've apologized many times. I just can't ever apologize and say it enough, so I thank you for it. And I'm trying to be a better product of myself every day, and I'm trying to help as many people as I can get the help and make the changes that I did, in hopes that they have a better life out there for them as well. So I got off track a little bit there, but when I heard him say, once he got to know me, that I could tell that your way of thinking is what got you here, and you're not used to taking orders and listening to anyone, but you can obviously see yourself that there's room for improvement, or you wouldn't be here. So why don't you just sit back, listen to some advice, try to change the way you think and the way you process things and the way you handle things. Try to breathe before you react. Try to shut your mouth before you open it and let something out that you can't take back and you can't reel back. Because I do repeat some things on a lot of episodes because they hold true, especially with addiction, is that our tongue and our mouths hurt people more than our fist ever could. And I didn't realize that until I was of sober mind and sober spirit and heart. I'm so regretful for some of the things that I've said and done in this life, and I never realized that my tongue and my mouth hurt the ones that I love more than I ever could have, by laying hands on them or with my fist or anything like that. I swore, that I would not handle discipline in my house the way that it was handled growing up as a youngster. And I'm the oldest of three of us. And sometimes, discipline got out of hand. Now, most of the time, I have to be honest and say that we deserved quite a bit of discipline. We earned it, and there's a few times where it probably was over the top and out of control and handled improperly, but my folks did the best they could by us, and I've made mistakes along the way with mine too, and I'm apologizing for it here today too. These kids don't come with owner's manuals like cars do, so you just have to pray and ask the Lord to help guide you and do the best you can, and you're going to make mistakes and you're going to screw up, and they're going to have feelings later in life, and they're going to act like you and think like you, and hopefully you can just do the best that you can by them and put them on the road to success the best that we can, and ask for forgiveness from them when they're old enough to understand and for the times that we mess up. But I want to talk about ego and pride and all those things that make us think that our way is the only way. Well, it's not. The way you think and the way you act and respond under the influence of drugs and alcohol is usually not good, usually wrong. It's usually blown out of proportion and blown up way more than it was ever intended to be. So if we can learn to control our temper, control our mouth, control our situation, and not let it get out of control, and be able to ask for help. I did an episode, about handling these things. You're breathing. Take 3 deep breaths through your nose, let them out through your mouth slowly. And if that don't work, stand up, look down at your feet, realize the Lord has you where you're at for a reason. It's not an accident. And He's never going to give us more than we can handle. But those are all good exercises. Go to your car, go to a closet, go to the bathroom, whatever, by yourself, and pray and breathe and separate yourself, because your way of thinking and doing things up to this point is probably been a lot of room for improvement. So it's at least worth you trying some of these things and techniques to deal with situations on daily life. I wouldn't be telling them to you if they didn't work for me. And I want to talk to you for a minute about just that. If we're used to doing things on our own and making our own decisions, and it's gotten us nothing but pain and misery, shame, I've experienced them all, embarrassment, then it's probably time for you to have that talk with the person in the mirror and peel that onion down to its core and get real and have the inner fortitude, the bravery, and the guts to make a change. And it can happen. If your addiction's got a strong hold on you like mine did, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. I couldn't. I know some people that have, so I don't want to sit here and say that you can't like I just did, but It can happen, and there are people that can do it, but I couldn't. I had to seek help. And the day I asked for help, I I guess subconsciously admitted to myself that my way of thinking did get me here, and there's got to be a better way. There's got to be more out there in this world and in this life than what I'm waking up to every day. I got to the point where I didn't care if tomorrow come, because I kept doing the same thing over and over, and that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. It's not going to happen, guys. I'm going to do a episode called "Nothing Changes If Nothing Changes," and that's exactly what we're talking about. If you can't change the way you're thinking and realize the fact that your way of thinking and doing things is probably taking you down a road that you're tired of being on, and you're ready to make those changes, then that takes a big person. Don't ever be afraid or scared to admit that you're wrong or that you need help. It takes a lot bigger, stronger, braver person to admit that there's a problem, look into that mirror and see the problem and know it's you, to admit it and to want to make the changes and take the right next steps to do the next right thing and to get the help that you need. That takes way stronger of a person. I've played sports and been competitive all my life, and I've been on some pretty good teams and with some pretty good athletes, but I've met some of the strongest and bravest people on this planet in AA meetings and in recovery. I would surround myself with those people any day to go to any battle, because you don't know until you do it how strong a person it takes to take those steps and to do the next right thing and to get the help that you need and put the work in to make it last for a lifetime. So I want to talk about the way you run your family or the way you handle your family and your business. If you're so bullheaded like I was and thinking, it's my way or the highway, and you've caused some scars like I have on people that you love and that love you. And I'm going to do an episode called "We Have Some Making Up to Do," because our way of thinking and doing things have caused a lot of scars and caused a lot of damage. And I say we haven't tore down the walls of Jericho overnight, and we're not going to fix them overnight. It's going to be a process, and it's going to take time. And you need to realize that, especially if you're in a relationship and you have a family, that those other people around you and in that relationship and in that family have a say in the way things are done too. It's not just your bullheaded, pig-headed pride that's going to lead the way all the time, because obviously you're making some mistakes, and your way of thinking got us to the point of surrender, hopefully. But at that point of falling flat on your face, broken, confused, hurt, is the point that you can get to your knees and look to the Lord for help, and set aside your pride and your way of thinking and your way of doing things, and ask the Lord for guidance, ask the Lord for forgiveness and direction, and He'll give it to you. It wasn't until then, and it wasn't until I had to write the letters that my counselor asked me to, and go down and read them, pray over them, burn them, and let them go, that I was truly liberated and felt like the weight of the world had just jumped off of my back, and I didn't even realize I was carrying it. And I wish that for all of you, that if today you are just eat up with your addiction and you get to a point like I did where you don't care if tomorrow comes, I hate that for you, because I know exactly what it feels like, and I don't wish it on nobody. But I'm also here to say that I'm alive today to tell you that there is a better way and a better life out there. But you have to be man or woman enough and brave enough and strong enough and determined enough to ask for the help, get the help, admit the problem is you. Stop blaming anything and everybody else for your problem. The problem is you. Nobody put a funnel in my mouth and forced the pills and booze down my throat. I did it myself. And I was just like every other addict or alcoholic out there, where I'd blame everybody else for the reason I drink and the reason I do things I do and act the way I do. You owe it to yourself to be a better product of yourself and to put the best product of yourself out there. You owe it to your family, to your loved ones, to your job, and to total strangers. It'll make the world a difference once you realize how to tap into the best product of you that can be offered. And it makes getting up the next day and tackling the next day so much easier, so much more satisfying. I used to never pay attention to sunrises and sunsets and just the little things like somebody opening the door for you or someone saying hello or anything like that. I pay attention to all those things now. I take pictures of cool looking sunrises and sunsets, and I send them to friends and Pastor Steve out there at Rob's Ranch, and we're sharing those things. And it's just little things like that. I appreciate the things that my wife and son do. I'm truly blessed to have a family that is still there. I don't know how they're still here. It's just a miracle in the Lord working to break me. I mean, I know my wife and my son both have prayed for many years that I'd get help, and they never thought I would. They thought the day that I went to the hospital and they asked my wife to leave the room in case they had to jumpstart me, they actually discussed and did raise my life insurance, knowing that I was too hard-headed and pig-headed. I was never going to change. I was going to hurt myself, either fighting or someone was going to shoot me, stab me, or driving under the influence. I was going to hurt myself or someone else, either just being stupid and doing things my way and my way of thinking. So they did. They raised my life insurance and I didn't know that until I was actually at Rob's Ranch, and on Sunday, on Family Day, my counselor told me to sit down and shut up and listen, and the family had something to talk to you about. And it was sad to hear that, my son was about 26, 27 at the time, and like he said, this is the first time, Dad, we've actually got to sit down and talk to you about stuff serious like this. You're usually too touchy and too bad of attitude and hot-headed that we couldn't ever talk to you. And that's just sad, man, to know that they were scared to sit and talk to me, or too dreadful to sit down and talk to because of my temper or outlashing and all that. That's just pathetic, and I don't wish that on anybody. But that was how I was. My way of thinking was the only way, and I had to be taught that it's not. And you can be taught these same things too. It's not easy. It's not easy sitting there, you being used to being in control all the time, and you're the one making all the decisions and taking that tiger by the tail, and you running the show all the time. But fellas, now I'm talking to fellas because this is the life that I know and that I lead, but I assume for the women that are in similar situations to come back to the house and to live a life with the family's got to be similar. But you know that you've done them wrong, and you know that your way of thinking and doing things has been wrong, and we know that we've caused pain, and we know that we've caused scars. So you didn't cause all these problems and turmoil overnight, and you're sure as heck not going to fix them overnight. It's going to take time, and you're going to have to come in After you go to rehab and you come out, you're going to have to be humbled. You're going to have to check your pride, your control, your anger, your anxiety, and everything. And you have to come in humbled and willing to put the work in, willing to let somebody else take the wheel and take the lead and control and have say in things. It's not a one way or the highway type deal. It won't work. I can promise you that if you come out of rehab and you go right back to being the same way you were and acting a fool and thinking that your way is the only way, I can just about assure you that there's a large number of you out there that'll probably find yourself single, broken in many ways, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. I can just about bet that if you go through 90 days like I did and you come back out and you start acting the way you were before, they probably had their fill of you by then. Mine did. Mine was ready to leave. If they didn't see change, they were totally hopeful. They had prayed for years that I'd seek the help and get the help that I needed. And they were totally hopeful and optimistic, probably more so than I was for myself. But I can assure you that if you don't put the work in and you don't listen to the things you're being taught while you're in there and apply those things to real world and real practical situations, and realize that your way's not right. Your way hasn't been right for a long time. And there are better ways. There is a better life out there, but it's going to be more of a team atmosphere. And I know the guys especially have trouble relinquishing control. I know a lot of them, myself included, that it's hard to just relinquish control. It's hard to be humbled. It's hard to come in, pretty much feel like a whipped pup. And that's just the only way I think it needs to be. You're going to have to be humbled and come in slow and come in modest and just one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. It's not going to get fixed tomorrow or the next day, but you showing that you are a different person and you're willing to put in the work, the effort, and take the steps that it takes to make this work, and that you do appreciate them, you do love them, and ask the Lord for guidance and give it all to God and have Him help you through it. It will work, and it's a way better life to live than the life you was living that got you where you were to the point of breaking down and knowing you need help. So I just wish that for all of you. I'm going to try to taper this down. So I did give thanks in the beginning to all the people I needed to thank. We did say the Lord's Prayer. I do want to say the Serenity Prayer here at the end. We will have a website up soon, and we are currently an LLC. If we can pick up the support and the traction that we need and donors and all that, we will soon become a 501c3 and a nonprofit. And I can talk to you one-on-one on that. Our email is Second Chances on Life Podcast, and that is the number 2 ND for second. Chances on Life Podcast at gmail.com. And you can find our episodes now on Spotify, and we'll be linking them out to Instagram. And social media is not my thing, so I will be getting some help with all these things. It will get better as we go, and we will soon have a steady home to work and broadcast from, and I'll share that with everybody once that is finalized and we are recording somewhere on a steady basis. We do have some things in the works. But if you need me, we will have, like I said, the website up soon with the calendar, and you can block out 30-minute intervals to an hour intervals and I want to offer sobriety coaching to as many as I can. I mean, the calendar, you will be able to block out 30 minutes to an hour, like I said, and I will help you be a sobriety coach. I'm not going to be your sponsor. I hope you get one. Everybody needs one. But like all good coaches in all athletes' lives, they will help you hone your skills. They help you stay focused and help you gain the tools and skills that you need for a long life of success. And hold you accountable. And we're going to set goals. And that's what I want to do. Is I want to be a sobriety coach, and I want to help you through the tough times, and I want to share with you the good times. If there's a sobriety date or a milestone or a marker we hit, email me, call me. I want to share it with the world, and we'll talk about them on here. If you got questions or if you got comments on the show, please go to Second Chances on Life podcast at Gmail and leave comments for me. I'll try to get to them and answer questions on the following episodes. If you're a hater, you're going to be a hater. If you leave negative comments and just hate, I probably won't get back to you. But we're going to try to put something positive out here and help as many people as we can. And if you do know someone that needs help, reach out to them. Send them this podcast. Please like it, share it. Sometimes it takes asking someone, "Are you okay?" And just remember, like Jelly Roll's song, it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. And there is a better life out here for you. There is help out here, and we want to help you find it. That's the only reason I'm doing this podcast, is to help as many people as I can get the help that I got. And the saying, you can't eat an elephant in one bite, is true, but you can with a lot of bites. That's very true. The same goes with we can't change the world overnight, but we can start with one person at a time. And that's what I'm going to do, is try to help as many people as I can, one person at a time. So if you do have the means of helping and donating to us, you like what you're hearing, and you want to help us continue to do what we're doing and help as many people as we can, please donate to us and help us with the cause. We'll spend every penny that we get trying to help people get in recovery and detox and the education and the help that they need and the counseling that they need. So I'm going to try to wrap things up. Joe Pello tells us to put our shoes under our bed or boots. Make your bed every day. If you can't do anything right, it seems, at least you can make your bed and have accomplished that. And while you're on your knees getting those shoes or boots out from under your bed, you might as well thank the Lord for the day and ask Him to keep you sober for the day. And the whole idea is to get to the Lord before the world gets to you. So we're going to end with the Serenity Prayer. Give me this 1 second here. We'll say the Serenity Prayer and be done. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. If you go to treatment, especially a faith-based treatment center, you will know the Lord's Prayer and the Serenity Prayer. You will learn them. And I hope you've liked our background. That is hanging in my office. Jesus coming after the lost lamb. And if you're that lost lamb, he will come after you too. All you got to do is ask Him to, and He will come help you like He did me. He left the 99, meaning the whole flock and the whole herd, to come rescue one. And that one was me. So, and it can be you too. So that's all we have for this episode. Please reach out to those in need. Be kind to one another. God loves you and I love you. Thank you and have a blessed evening.